Once you've narrowed down your decision making, you might have one or you might have multiple markets that you want to choose from. This is where it gets really, really interesting for an investor. And I'll use the example of a city like Memphis, where there might be 6, 7, 8 different companies that someone can choose from. And that's going to happen in several major markets around the country. You're going to find multiple different companies that offer a similar service, all called Turnkey. I'm not going to go into each individual one, but I'm going to tell you that there are things that you want to look at as an investor that are going to point to who you're going to work with best. And that's just the reality of it. You also have to understand that you may really love a market and you cannot find a good provider in that market. It's going to be tempting to say, I'm going to invest there anyway. I'm going to build my own, or I'm going to do my own. I know many investors that have been successful at that, but that's no longer passive. You are now an active investor. You're actively managing your group of people you put together. Instead, what I look for is the ability to find a great market, and then I want to find a really, really good team, a great provider in that market that's going to provide the passive investment that I want, and they're going to do things the way I expect it to be done. Here's what you're looking for as an investor. First and foremost, you want to make sure that you're dealing with someone who is a local investor themselves. They've got experience around town. Rarely will you find somebody that's a turnkey investor that doesn't have a lot of property themselves. They don't have a lot of experience buying and selling, but you might. Don't get hung up when somebody comes in and says, I bought and sold X number of properties, and you want to know where, and they tell you that, somewhere else, out of the country, some other country altogether, or some other state altogether, and now I've set up shop here and I'm going to do the same thing here. It's not what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody that has good local knowledge. They've been investing there for a while. Preferably, if you think back what's happened, you would like somebody that's been doing this for 10, 12, 15 years, because they've been through multiple cycles at this point. They've been through the Fed not having to take any action whatsoever and housing prices going up, and it's just this incredible boom, to suddenly the housing crisis, creates this economic crisis and everything falls out, and suddenly we've got 0% interest rates, and they managed to hang on. They managed to stay in the business and continue to build and grow, and now they're coming out the other side. They've been through multiple cycles. You want people with experience. Another key feature that you're looking for with turnkey companies, and this kind of harks back to that whole thing about there's no definition. You don't know one company from the next, and are they operating the same way, is that you want to know, do you own the properties that you're selling? Are you simply rehashing the MLS out here to me and putting it out there to me because I can get that from anybody? Or are you selling someone else's properties because you don't have the money and funding and ability to be able to sell your own? That's a shortcut to getting started, is hacking someone else's houses because they don't have the money or the ability to build their own inventory. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm simply telling you that if you can find someone who is successful, they've been investing for a long time, they own their own houses, they use their money to buy, renovate, and hold a property before you buy it, that's a big deal. You're talking about stability right off the bat, and that's something you're looking for as an investor. I want a stable partnership. Someone that is not going to rely on me to bring the money to buy the houses, but they actually have the ability to buy their own houses and to renovate those and then sell them to me on the backside. That's a big deal. You're looking for a company that has all of the structure in place to be a very, very well-oiled machine. Company that has the structure, they have the people, they have the finances, they have the systems in place. They're going to be able to do something that's critical for you as an investor, and that is communicate, because they have good systems in place. They know what's happening with your property long after you bought it. They can tell you what's happening on the rent, with the maintenance, with the collection, whatever it ends up being. And when you build a portfolio of 4, 5, 6 houses with them, you know that they are constantly aware of the status of your properties. And then even more than that, they can communicate that to you. They have a system in place to be able to get information to you. And it's not just, hey, log in because we've got this 24-hour access. Anyone can do that. You're looking for somebody that really goes the extra step. It's part of what we call the package of total customer experience. You want a company that says, look, we value the experience that you're having. So we want you to be in constant contact. We want you to be reached out to and know about all the milestone events. Rent's collected, a property is released, So a client has stayed for 2 years, now they're gonna stay for 2 more. You wanna know about that. Should there be a move out? Should there be a maintenance issue? These are the milestone events that you wanna be contacted about and know what's happening. You're looking for companies that have the systems and the stability to be able to provide that to you. Once you think you found the right company, it's really critical that you interview them the proper way. You really interview and you dig in and you make them be accountable for what they've done and what they're going to do for you as an investor. And you do that with some great questions. So this is a pen in hand moment. Make sure you are writing this down. The first question that you want to ask is, what's the biggest mistake you've made as a real estate investor? If you're not met with complete deadpan silence on the other side, then you might actually have a good company to do business with. See, the reality is that any company that's been around for as many years as you're looking for, those 10, 12, 15-year companies, they've been through those cycles. If you found someone who's also been a local investor, if they are a successful local investor, they've probably been through the ringer a time or two. They can probably tell you about the mistakes they've made. If the mistake that they choose to tell you is that I once charged $20 too less on a rent, then they're probably not being serious or honest with you. As investors, as people, as businessmen, entrepreneurs, businesswomen, I mean, all of us make mistakes. And the ability to be open, vulnerable, honest about that and be able to tell somebody, these are the mistakes I've made. And what you're really listening for next is, and how I help you avoid them, that's what you want. You want someone that can tell you that I've been through it, I know what not to do, and I know how to help you avoid those same mistakes.